Some people do not enter your life by accident. They arrive like a mirror you were not ready to face. And the soul you keep questioning may be the very soul sent to awaken the part of you that has been asleep for years. Before you call it attachment, before you call it obsession, before you call it confusion, ask yourself this: why does this person reach places inside you that no one else could reach? Why does their silence disturb you? Why does their presence feel familiar? Why does meeting them feel less like a beginning and more like remembering something your soul already knew? If this message is touching something you have not been able to explain, stay with me until the end. Because what you are feeling may not be confusion, it may be recognition. And by the end, you may understand why this soul entered your life exactly when it did. Some souls do not come into your life to make everything easy. They come to make everything visible. This is why their presence feels so powerful, so unsettling, and sometimes even impossible to ignore. They do not merely stand before you as another person, they become a mirror. And in that mirror, you begin to see the parts of yourself you have hidden, denied, or buried beneath survival. You may think you are reacting to them, but often you are reacting to what they awaken inside you. A chosen soul reflects your deepest emotional patterns. If you fear abandonment, their distance may expose it. If you struggle with trust, their silence may disturb you. If you have forgotten your worth, their presence may make you question why you still seek love from a place of fear instead of peace. This does not mean they are cruel. It means the connection has entered a deeper layer of your being where ordinary relationships never reached. The mirror is not always comfortable. Sometimes it shows your longing. Sometimes it shows your wounds. Sometimes it shows how much love you are capable of giving and how much of yourself you have sacrificed just to be chosen by someone else. That is why this kind of bond can feel both beautiful and painful. It carries attraction, but also revelation. It carries desire, but also confrontation. You may find yourself asking why this person affects you so much. The answer may be that they are touching the unconscious parts of you that still need attention. They reveal the child who wanted to be seen. They reveal the heart that learned to protect itself. They reveal the fear that love will leave the moment you become vulnerable. But do not mistake this mirror for punishment. It is an invitation. This soul may have entered your life so you can finally meet yourself honestly. Not the version you show the world, but the hidden self beneath the mask. The one still waiting to be understood, healed, and accepted. Sometimes a person enters your life and the mind immediately tries to explain them. You ask why you feel drawn to them, why their voice stays with you, why their presence feels strangely known, as if you are not meeting them for the first time, but remembering them from a place deeper than memory. This is because certain connections do not begin on the surface. They touch the unconscious before they ever become clear to the conscious mind. The unconscious does not speak in ordinary language. It speaks through feelings, symbols, dreams, sudden recognition, emotional intensity, and strange inner movements you cannot easily explain. When this soul appears, something inside you responds before logic gives permission. You may look at them and feel a familiarity that has no reasonable history. You may feel exposed, understood, or shaken without knowing why. This is not weakness. This is the hidden part of you reacting to something it recognizes. But here is where you must be careful. Familiar does not always mean comfortable. Sometimes a familiar feeling comes because this person touches an old wound. Sometimes they remind your soul of love you lost, safety you wanted, affection you never received, or a version of yourself you buried long ago. This is why the connection can feel magnetic and confusing at the same time. It feels like home, but it also disturbs your peace. It brings warmth, but it also awakens fear. The reason you cannot easily forget them is not only because of who they are, it is because of what they unlock inside you. They open rooms in your inner world that were closed for years. They awaken memories without images, emotions without names, and desires you tried to silence. That is why this bond feels different from ordinary attraction. Ordinary attraction fades when attention moves elsewhere, but unconscious recognition follows you into silence, into dreams, into moments when you are alone with yourself. This soul may have been chosen not because the path will be simple, but because it forces you to listen to the deeper voice within you, the one you ignored when life taught you to be practical, guarded, and emotionally controlled. When a soul enters your life with unusual force, fear often arrives immediately after it. Not because the connection is wrong, but because it touches a place inside you that has learned to protect itself. The mind is trained to stay safe. It analyzes, questions, doubts, and searches for proof. So when someone reaches your inner world too quickly, the ego becomes alarmed. It says, "Be careful, this is too much, this cannot be trusted." But fear is not always a warning. Sometimes fear is simply the sound of an old wound being touched. You may think your anxiety means you should run. You may think the intensity is a sign that something is dangerous. But look deeper. Are you afraid because this person is truly harming you? Or are you afraid because they make you feel vulnerable? There is a difference. Real danger drains your dignity, confuses your self-worth, and forces you to betray yourself. But emotional fear often rises when love asks you to become open again after years of hiding. This chosen soul may awaken fear because they stand near the door you locked long ago, the door of trust, the door of surrender, the door of being seen without pretending. You may have built your life around control, around not needing anyone, around surviving without exposing too much of your heart. Then this person appears, and suddenly your control feels weak. Your defenses begin to shake. You feel pulled, yet frightened. You feel hope, yet resistance. That is not always a sign to escape. Sometimes it is a sign that the deeper self is being invited out of exile. But do not become foolish in the name of destiny. A soul connection does not excuse disrespect, inconsistency, manipulation, or emotional neglect. You must learn the difference between fear that comes from trauma and fear that comes from truth. One asks you to heal, the other asks you to leave. The mistake is treating every fear as divine guidance. Sometimes fear is only the past trying to repeat itself, trying to convince you that what is unfamiliar must be unsafe, and what is deep must be dangerous. Not every soul chosen for your path arrives as comfort. Some arrive as disturbance. Some arrive like a storm that enters the quiet room of your life and forces every hidden thing to move. This is why you must not assume that pain means the connection has no meaning. Sometimes the soul that awakens you first has to unsettle you, because the version of you that was sleeping would never rise through peace alone. A lesson often comes before the blessing, because the heart must be prepared to receive what it once feared. You may want love, but still resist being truly seen. You may desire closeness, but still protect yourself with distance. You may pray for someone who understands you, but panic when someone finally reaches the places you kept guarded. So the connection becomes difficult, not because it is empty, but because it is asking something from you that ordinary love never asked. This person may teach you patience through silence. They may teach you self-respect through distance. They may teach you emotional discipline by not giving you immediate certainty. They may teach you to stop chasing, stop forcing, stop begging life to give you proof before you have developed trust in yourself. That is the part most people do not want to hear. A chosen soul is not always sent to satisfy your longing. Sometimes they are sent to purify it. You may have imagined that a meaningful connection would feel easy from the beginning, but deep bonds often expose everything shallow bonds allow you to ignore. They reveal where you are still dependent on validation. They reveal where you confuse intensity with security. They reveal where your love becomes attachment, where your hope becomes obsession, and where your fear begins controlling your choices. This does not mean you must suffer blindly. Do not romanticize confusion. Do not worship someone who gives you crumbs. The lesson is not to lose yourself in waiting. The lesson is to become conscious of what this connection is showing you. Before it can become a blessing, it may first have to break the illusion that love means possession, control, constant reassurance, or escape from your own loneliness. When this person enters your life, they do not only awaken love, that would be too simple. They awaken everything love has been hiding beneath it. They awaken the grief you never fully spoke about. They awaken the insecurity you thought you had outgrown. They awaken the fear that you are too much or not enough or always one step away from being left behind. This is why the connection can feel so intense. It is not just a bond between two people, it is an encounter with the buried rooms of your own soul. You may feel joy when they are close, but panic when they become distant. You may feel hope when they give attention, but collapse inside when they pull away. You may tell yourself this is because of them, but the deeper truth is harder to face. Their presence is touching something that was already there. They did not create the wound, they revealed it. They did not place fear inside you, they pressed against the place where fear had been sleeping. This is why chosen connections can feel almost unbearable. They make you conscious of needs you tried to deny. You may discover how deeply you want to be chosen, how much you crave reassurance, how easily your peace depends on another person's response. And that realization can hurt, because it forces you to admit that your heart has been carrying hunger for a long time. But this awakening is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to show you where healing is still needed. The person may awaken desire, but also the places where desire becomes dependency. They may awaken affection, but also the places where affection turns into fear. They may awaken hope, but also the places where hope becomes waiting for someone else to complete your life. The real question is not only why do I feel so much for this person? The real question is, what part of me is being called forward through this feeling? Because sometimes the soul chosen for you is not here to make you comfortable. Sometimes they are here to bring your hidden self into the light, so you can finally stop living half awake, half protected, and half loved. A soul connection does not ask you to become weak. It does not ask you to abandon yourself, forget your value, or turn your dignity into a sacrifice. This is where many people lose the meaning of the bond. They feel something deep, something rare, something almost impossible to explain, and then they start giving away pieces of themselves just to keep it alive. They chase, they overthink, they tolerate less than they deserve. They call it patience, but sometimes it is fear wearing spiritual language. If this soul was chosen for you, then the connection must lead you closer to yourself, not further away from yourself. It must awaken your truth, not make you beg for attention. It must reveal your heart, not make you live in constant anxiety. Trusting the process does not mean sitting in pain while someone treats you carelessly. It means staying open without becoming blind. It means allowing the bond to unfold without forcing it, controlling it, or destroying yourself trying to prove its meaning. You must understand this clearly. A chosen soul is not always someone you are meant to possess immediately. Sometimes they are someone who teaches you the difference between love and attachment. Love has strength, attachment has panic. Love can wait without losing self-respect. Attachment waits while slowly bleeding inside. Love allows space, attachment tries to control space. Love deepens your spirit, attachment makes you smaller. So if this person has entered your life with force, do not question only them. Question what you become around them. Do you become more conscious, more honest, more alive, more connected to your inner truth? Or do you become desperate, restless, insecure, and dependent on their every movement? The answer matters, because the soul chosen for you is not sent to make you worship another human being. It is sent to help you return to your own wholeness. Trust the unseen movement of the connection, but keep your feet on the ground. Let the heart remain open, but let the spine remain straight. Do not chase what is meant to recognize you. Do not beg what is meant to meet you. Do not lose yourself trying to hold a soul that was never meant to require your self-betrayal. Separation does not always mean the bond has died. Sometimes separation is the silent chamber where the truth of a connection is tested. When two souls are constantly near each other, emotion can become noise, desire can become confusion, presence can become habit. But when distance enters, the surface begins to fall away. What was only attachment weakens. What was only fantasy fades. But what is rooted deeper does not disappear so easily. It begins to echo in the quiet. This is why silence can feel so powerful between two people who were never ordinary to each other. You may think nothing is happening because no message is coming, no explanation is given, no visible movement appears. But inwardly, much may be moving. Distance forces both souls to face themselves without distraction. One must face the fear of loss. The other must face the fear of closeness. One must learn not to chase. The other must learn not to hide. Separation becomes the mirror neither person can escape. But you must not misunderstand this. Do not use separation as an excuse to wait endlessly for someone who gives nothing, offers nothing, and leaves you starving for crumbs. That is not soul connection, that is self-abandonment. The purpose of distance is not to make you suffer like a prisoner of hope. The purpose is to reveal what is real, what is illusion, and what still needs healing inside you. Sometimes absence shows you that you were attached to potential, not reality. Sometimes it shows you that your longing was stronger than the relationship itself. But sometimes absence reveals the opposite. It shows you that the bond was not built only on convenience, attention, or physical presence. It shows you that something remains even when there is no contact, no certainty, no promise. During separation, the strongest thing you can do is not chase the other soul. It is to return to your own. Become still. Watch what the silence teaches you. Notice whether you are growing, healing, becoming clearer, or simply sinking into obsession. Because real separation does not only test whether they will return, it tests whether you will return to yourself. The final purpose of this soul is not merely to make you love them, that is the surface. The deeper purpose is to make you meet yourself. Many people become so obsessed with the person that they miss the transformation taking place inside them. They keep asking, are they mine? Will they come back? Do they feel it too? But the more important question is, who am I becoming because this soul entered my life? A chosen connection is not always about possession. Sometimes it is about awakening. This person may open a doorway, but you are the one who must walk through it. They may stir your heart, but you are the one who must understand what the heart is trying to reveal. They may expose your wounds, but you are the one who must decide whether you will heal them or keep repeating them. The soul was chosen for your path, but the path still belongs to you. This is where many people fail. They turn the other person into the destination. They make them the center of every thought, every hope, every fear. They forget that no human being is meant to replace the work of becoming whole. A true soul bond does not ask you to disappear inside another person. It asks you to become more conscious, more honest, more rooted, more alive. If this connection is real, it should eventually bring you back to your own inner power. Even if it hurts, it should teach you something sacred about your worth. Even if it creates distance, it should show you where you still abandon yourself. Even if it does not unfold the way your mind desires, it should leave you with a deeper understanding of your own soul. So do not reduce this person to romance alone. They may be a messenger, a mirror, a test, a blessing, or a turning point. But the real mystery is what they awaken in you. The chosen soul is not the end of your story. They are part of the fire that burns away illusion, fear, weakness, and false identity. Through them, life may be asking you to become the person you were always meant to be. And so, when this soul enters your life, do not rush to explain it away. Do not reduce it to accident, fantasy, or weakness. Some people arrive with a strange authority over the inner world, not because they control you, but because they awaken what was sleeping inside you. They touch the places you hid from others. They disturb the parts of you that learn to survive without being fully seen. They become a mirror, a lesson, a wound, a blessing, and sometimes a doorway into the self you were always meant to meet. But understand this clearly. A chosen soul is not permission to lose yourself. It is not permission to chase, beg, wait endlessly, or confuse pain with destiny. What is truly meant for you will never demand the death of your dignity. It may challenge you, it may humble you, it may force you to face your fear, your longing, your attachment, and your hidden hunger for love. But it will also call you back to your center. If this person has awakened something in you, listen carefully. Not only to what you feel for them, but to what their presence reveals about you. Why did they touch you so deeply? What wound did they expose? What truth did they awaken? What part of your soul began to speak again because of them? The soul chosen for you may not always arrive gently. Sometimes it arrives through silence, distance, confusion, and inner conflict. Yet even then, it carries a message. It asks you to become conscious. It asks you to stop running from yourself. It asks you to love without fear, but also without self-betrayal. So do not question the soul as if life made a mistake. Question what you are being asked to learn. Question what is being healed. Question what old version of you is being left behind. Because perhaps this person was never sent only to complete your heart. Perhaps they were sent to awaken your spirit, return you to yourself, and lead you toward the life your soul already recognized before your mind understood it.